Yep, that's me, just standing there and FACETANKing a T4 Kingdom of the Mist. And I'm doing it inside a blood tornado. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Well, it all started at level 6 when I realized that Rake and Stomping Ground combo has a very strong potential. And then I asked myself, how far can I go with this build? And oh boy, I think I've pushed it to an absolute perfection. It's fast, strong, cheap. It's so cool that you can even play naked. But let's get back to business. First of all, I want you to look at this notable. Not so impressive, right? Wrong. This notable, and most important the potential it has, was overlooked by everyone. Let's break this down. With fast metabolism, life leech effects are not removed when unreserved life is filled, and it's absolutely crazy! But in order to understand its full potential, we need to take a step back. Life leech is a mechanic that will allow you to recover an amount of life equal to a percentage of the damage dealt. This life will be regenerated over 1 second. Basically, if you have some life missing, you can deal the damage to the monsters, and this way regenerate your life back. But if your life is full, there's nothing to regenerate, so Life Leech will not work. This feature creates pretty dangerous situation, where you can take several hits in a row and not be able to regenerate your life back. And this is exactly the situation where fast metabolism stands out the most. It will not stop your life regeneration from previous hit, even if your life is full. And that's an insanely powerful tool. I know that in current meta everyone's chasing instant regeneration, using serious aquatic gloves, but we're aiming for the opposite effect. We're trying to slow down our regeneration as much as possible, to expand that window of immortality. So we're taking notes like savored blood to reduce our life regeneration speed. But how much life can we actually get? That's a good question, and you will be very surprised with the result. I was able to achieve over 10,000 life regeneration with current setup, and I'm pretty sure you can do much more than that. Now let's talk about Stomping Ground, our main damage ability. It's actually a support gem that can be socketed in travel skills like Rake. Basically, each time we're using Rake, it triggers 2 shockwaves from Stomping Ground. And with just a half a second of attack time, we are able to generate up to 4 shockwaves per second, effectively dealing 300k DPS to bosses. But in order to deal that much of a damage, we have to understand how to scale our skills properly. Each shockwave deals from 100 to 150% of your strength as physical damage to the target. Important notice, our strength acts as the base damage that can be increased and multiplied using other supports and passive skills, just the same as your weapon. And we're able to stack more than 900 strength in current setup without using a tremendous and other expensive gear. Can you imagine a weapon with over 1000 base damage? It's like mirror-worth two-handed mace! Now you can feel how powerful that is? We will utilize min-maxed lucky mechanic combined with low life mechanic, overkill, armor break, and we will not stop there. We will use several other mechanics to maximize our damage output, but more on that in a minute. Now let's talk about skill gems. The main skill we're using is Rake. You might have noticed that we're not leveling it up, and we're not relying on it from the damage perspective. The only purpose of it is to activate our Stomping Ground support gem. Next, we have Martial Tempo to get 20% more attack speed, Heft for 30% more damage, Close Combat, once again more damage, and finally Execute for that massive 50% more damage against enemies on low life. Yes, we're using the Deepest Tower helmet to make all the enemies in our presence count as being on low life. You see, there are a couple of very strong damage clusters on the passive tree related to low life mechanic, and with Hulking form bonuses from our Ascendancy, we are able to get 45% increased damage for each small passive and current clusters, which in total will provide us with 540% increased damage with only 11 points spent. You will not be able to get that much of a damage anywhere else on the tree. Basically, all the enemies that get inside that green circle will be absolutely demolished. And this is exactly what we're trying to achieve. Next, we're using Volcanic Mark. We needed to apply several effects that will boost our physical damage and survivability. The first of which is Shock. With 100% increased chance from conduction and bonuses from Volcanic Mark itself, we are able to deal 25% more damage on shocked enemies. You'll find out where we get that lightning damage in a minute. Next, we have Armor Break using single out support gem. This will effectively boost our damage by another 20%. We want to apply Hobble to bring our target's evasion value down to 0. Finally, Life Thief to get an additional 8% life leech. The next skill we're using is Berserk. This is an incredibly powerful mechanic. Basically, we're generating rage each time we're dealing melee damage to the target. Each stack of rage will grant us 1% more attack damage, and we're able to stack up to 47 of them. On the other hand, Berserk will improve our rage effect by another 57%, which in total will almost double our damage. But as you already know, it has a drawback. It will force you to lose up to 4.7% of your life per second. But don't worry, with the amount of life leech you got, you won't even notice. To support this skill, we're using Cannibalism to have some life on kill and Warm Blooded to have 50% less freeze duration. Finally, we got Time of Need, which will heal us every 7 seconds and remove all the negative effects. To support this skill, we're using Fast Forward and Precision to get 30% increased accuracy. Now let's talk about gear. The weapon we're using is Sky Silver Spear, and there are several reasons for that. First of all, we don't care about weapon damage at all, because 100% of it is coming from our strength. Second, it's the fastest base you can find. With massive 30% boost to our attack speed, it simply has no competition. Third, it got some decent lightning damage, as well as increased chance to shock, which we can translate to free 20% boost to overall damage output. Finally, it got unique ability to roll only minimum or maximum damage value for each damage type. From the first look, it might seem like a drawback, but if you consider the fact that all of our damage is lucky, you might look at this ability from the very different perspective. Lucky is a mechanic that will allow you to roll our damage twice, and the higher value will be applied. So most of our damage will roll at maximum values, and this way we're getting huge boost to overall DPS. The helmet we're using is Deepest Tower. As I already told you in the first part of the video, it's the core piece of our build, which will allow us to get 540% increased damage with only 11 points invested in passive skills. So it's absolute must-have. Next, we have unique Titan Rod armor, which will increase our strength by a massive 30%. But everything has a cost. In this case, we'll be unable to regenerate life passively. But with the amount of life leech we got, it's not bother me at all. As for the boots, we're using Trampled Toe. This is a part of the build that will provide us with full screen clear. Basically, we have to deal as much damage as possible to a single target, and overkill damage will create chain reaction, deleting the whole screen. In gloves, I decided to focus on life leech, attack speed, strength, and a bit of accuracy rating, because in this build we're not using resolute technique. Next, we have the belt, with flat life, strength, and some resistances. As for the rings, we're mostly using them to cover our resistances. Since we're using a lot of unique items, rings are probably the only option that can help us to max out those stats. Finally, the amulet. I'm calling it as tremendous for poor people. We're trying to get as much attributes as possible and even allocate Titanic, which will provide us with another 5% boost to our strength. Now let's talk about passive skill tree. I will leave the link to Mobalytics in the description, and here I will try to cover the main aspects of the build. So we're using Titan Ascendancy, because Hulking Form is probably the single most powerful node in the game. It will provide you with 50% more results for each small passive you have on a tree. Next, we're heavily focused on attack and skill speed with this build. So we're taking 1, 2, 3, 4 clusters related to these stats. And the most important one is Dance with Death. It will provide you with 25% more skill speed if you're not using shield. So basically, it will multiply bonuses from all other sources of attack and skill speed you have. Next, we're taking these 2 low life clusters. I've been talking about them a lot in the videos, so let's move on. We're taking fast metabolism together with goring and all small life leech nodes over here and over here. Also, we're taking this attack cluster together with 2 rage clusters right here and here. Finally, we're trying to get all strength related clusters that is available for us on the passive skill tree. Now let's talk about jewels. We have a couple of unique ones. From Nothing Diamond, which will allow us to save some points in order to get to that low life cluster. Next, we have Megalomaniac with Maiming Strike and Hefty Unit, which will allow us to scale our stun threshold with our strength. Speaking about other jewels, we're trying to get something similar to this one, with attack and physical damage, life leech, and of course, gain rage on melee hit. I hope you enjoyed this video, so don't forget to subscribe and definitely check this next one. No, really, check it, it's awesome.